Hi students, we are almost finished with our course. I'm very proud of you. This week we're only going to have one reading and then we're going to have two writing assignments so you can have practice with writing, and we'll have another reading test with vocabulary. So you'll have a good idea of what your final reading and writing will be about. Today, we're only going to read one very short reading, but it's a little complicated. I skipped two chapters because I like this chapter on animal adaptation. The word adaptation is how you change to fit into your environment. How you change means to adapt to a new situation. So this reading is on page 165. There are about four words that are similar, but they're also different, and we have to understand the difference. This kind of reading will help you when you take a science class. For example, if you plan to transfer to a university, you have to take 15 credits of science. All of these words are in your science class. So, that's why I chose this particular reading. Since everyone needs science, it's good to know these words. Okay, an adaptation is a change in an organism. An organism means anything that's alive, from a snake, person, fish, plant, insect, fungus, coronavirus. Everything is an organism. Well, a virus is not really an animal, it's not really an organism, but a bacteria is an organism. Anything that breathes is an organism. So let me read that again now that we understand organism. An adaptation is a change in an organism, a living plant or animal, that helps it survive in its environment. For example, our environment is the earth, so we don't have fins for swimming. We didn't need the fins for swimming to adapt to our environment. We needed a brain. Okay? So let me read that again. An adaptation is a change in an organism, a living plant or animal, that helps it survive in its environment. These changes are the result of mutation. Then it will explain mutation. So in science and in history and in every topic, in the United States, when you study, if they give you a new vocabulary, they will explain it in the next sentence. That's why this reading is so good. So I'm going to start at the beginning. I want you to see how they give you a new word in one sentence and they explain it in the next. An adaptation is a change in an organism, a living plant or animal, that helps it survive in its environment. These changes are the result of mutation. Mutations are passed down through genes from one generation to the next. So your genes are your DNA. So my genes gave me blue eyes, this color skin, bad teeth, brown hair, or black hair, big body. That's from my genes. They were passed down from my parents. Okay. A mutation means a big change, a very big change. So if somebody had a gene mutation, it would mean like they had three eyes. Okay. So it's a big change that goes from generation to generation. It's passed down. As more organisms inherit or receive the mutation, the species evolves. So there's two kinds of thinking. One kind of thinking is evolution. The other kind of thinking is spiritual or religious thinking. So if you believe in Adam or Eve, you might not believe in evolution, how we were fish, then we got mutation to get legs, and then we went on the earth and walked around, and then we had a mutation to get a big brain. That's the sign of evolution, not Adam and Eve. And so in college, we believe usually in evolution, not about spiritual things. Okay. Eventually, the adaptation becomes a normal characteristic of the species. So, thinking of evolution, millions of years ago, people and monkeys were the same. Then something happened to their DNA, and humans got a big brain, and monkeys didn't get a big brain. That's what makes us different from monkeys. Humans and monkeys share about 98% of the same DNA, but it's the 2% that makes me buy this cute shirt, or that makes me want to put on lipstick, or tells me I need new glasses. That is what we inherit from our parents, is the mutation that occurred a million years ago continues to be passed down. We never see a baby who looks like a monkey, right? It's because whenever we mutated so drastically a million years ago, the new characteristic of being a human continues to be inherited generation after generation. I'm going to read the whole paragraph again. An adaptation is a change in an organism, a living plant or animal, that helps it survive in its environment. These changes are the result of mutation. Mutations are passed down through genes from one generation to the next. As more organisms receive the mutation, the species evolves. Eventually, the adaptation becomes a normal characteristic of the species. An adaptation can affect an organism physically. Physically means your body. Okay, so the way you change as a human, maybe the human body will change somehow. For example, some plants adapt to living in the desert by storing water in their stems. The stem of a flower, here's the stem of a flower, here's the head of the flower. The head of the flower, the stem of the flower. So that's a good example of adaptation. First, the flower lives in the forest. Then the desert comes, and the plant has to adapt to life in the desert. So what happens was a few of them adapted. They started to put water in the stem. Then when they had babies, then those babies had the new mutation. Okay, and then all of those flowers could live in the desert. Adaptations can also affect behavior. Behavior means the things you do. Migration. Migration is flying to another place in the winter and flying back in the summer. Migration is a behavioral adaptation that allows animals to move to places where they can mate or find food. Mate means get married or have babies. Have babies is mate. So migration, it used to be maybe the bird always stayed in Seattle. And then suddenly a few of them started to migrate to Texas. And then they would come back to Seattle. Then they would go and migrate to another place. So migration was an adaptation for some animals. For example, gray whales give birth in warm water, but travel to cold water for food. So adaptation means changing your behavior to live successfully in a new environment. I'll say it again. Adaptation means changing your behavior to live successfully in a new environment. Finally, sometimes an adaptation develops for one purpose, but is used for another. For example, one theory about feathers, these are the feathers of the bird, is that they were probably an adaptation to provide insulation, to prevent heat from escaping, but were later used for flying. So some people theorize or say that birds come from dinosaurs, and that dinosaurs had feathers to keep warm. They didn't have hair, they didn't have fur, they had feathers. So when dinosaurs mutated and became birds, They kept the feathers. However, the feathers also helped the birds fly. So that's what it's talking about. The word insulated means to keep warm. For example, when you go outside in the snow, you need a big puffy jacket. The puffy jacket is insulated to keep you warm. Okay, I hope you listen to this again and then read this on your own. This is a little bit like a college level textbook would be. The only difference is you would have to read 20 pages a day. But I think you will get there. Okay, please listen to the video again. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Let me spend an hour trying to find this. Okay, here we go. Where are you? Okay, to get this one smaller, I guess. There we go. Okay. What a nightmare this is. Okay, where's the... Okay, that's that. Okay. Just fast forward and you can get rid of my thing. Okay. Alrighty. Bye.